Hey, good morning. I'm Jeremy. Why don't you come along and join me on my journey today? I thought building this up, the 2 layers a 1/2 inch, and making an insert that just kind of can drop in. If I get the right insert. Drops in like that. And then this is 1 inch. My flooring foam is 1 inch. And then I'd have a cap that the piece that I cut out out of the floor would be attached to this insert, and it would just continue across. So everything would be nice and even. This is a wonderful idea, except I ran into issues already. I got the bench seat kind of sitting in place, and once I slide it in, and so it's in that bracket, and I got to click it down into that bracket, which it doesn't. So I was like, oh no, why won't it click? And then I noticed this. It's hitting this. So even if I cut this out, it's going to hit this one still. So I think what I got to do is have one continuous pocket the whole way. And yeah, so back to creating, I guess. Well, after going through all the effort, I've taken 2 1/2 inch sheets of plywood, making these beautiful rectangles to go around the foot of the bench seat. Yeah, I went to install them. I grabbed the foam that I already cut for the floor. It's like, oh yeah, it fits perfect, no problem. Then I realized the foam that I bought for the floor was what I bought. I thought I made a mistake. I did want 3/4 inch foam, and that's what I bought. But about a month ago, when I made the window coverings for the inside of the van, I bought 1 inch foam, which these worked really good. They're bang on, the right shape, right size, right everything. So now I've got a couple big horseshoes. They're gone in the garbage. And all I had to do, which was really easy, I ran a piece of 3/4 inch plywood through the saw, which would have been great to do in the first place. Anyway, ran it through the table saw, made a new piece. I really didn't want to put screws into the floor, but I really want this piece, or these 2 pieces, not to move at all. So there, I used some self-tappers, 1 inch self-tappers. I had to countersink them down a bit, and just so they grab and not go through too much. And then, so this is my flooring material, and it butts up just nice and smooth. What's going to happen is my foam is going to be butt up like this. My next layer of underlay is going this way. The grains are going this way. And then my final layer of underlay is going on this way. What I'm going to do is set these in like so. So it's just inset 1 inch. And then I'm going to have when I cut this piece out, I'm going to save that piece, and then that's going to get attached to the insert piece that goes in right here. But now that I got both of these in, they're squared up to each other, they're centered on the holes nice. I'm going to vacuum out the van and get it all clean and put the insulation in and my first layer of wood again. So I started working on the roof, started doing some layout. When I get towards the end of my plywood, I wanted something to catch it here. So I took a small piece of plywood, I stenciled out this, transferred it onto some 1x6 or 1x4, and cut 2 straps out, and then laminated them together. And then drilled a couple holes on each end and fastened them in that way. And it's nice and rigid. I'm going to put a layer of foam between the metal rib that's underneath the factory ceiling, and get that in there nice and tight, tape it up, and it'll be good to go. My plan right now with the 5mm underlay for my ceiling is to actually utilize these Velcro clips that were on the old ceiling. And I have the back, I cut the old strips right out of the other piece, the headliner, and I'm gonna reutilize those. I think I might have to stop at the scrapyard and pick up a couple more, just to make it complete. But yeah, that's how I'm trying not to use any screws. So, and even on this wood piece, I'm gonna get a new piece of Velcro, double side, like sticky back, and put it across there, and then I can just pop it up on there, and then also reapply some Velcro onto this, so it can stick onto the board as well, because I'm gonna run the board a little bit wild, and then they can kind of stick together. That's how it was originally, so I'm gonna put it back together like that. I didn't want the insulation to ever touch the external metal, like the entire sheet, so it doesn't condensate as bad, and leave airflow behind it. So I started cutting these little 1" by 1" squares, and they're about ½ inch thick. That's the remainder of airspace that's behind the foam once you put it up. What I'm doing, I'm running my foam to center and then having a seam in the center and just using tuck tape to seal it. It's a lot easier to fit everything in properly, especially when you have little things to go around. But anyway, I just wanted to show is, so I'm taking, this part's inside the wall frame, so I don't want to set the block back that far. But all I'm doing is taking my 1 by 1 block, going kitty corner, I guess, triangle ways, against the block. That way I can put down all 4 sides of the tabs. Then you lose the end of the tape. One more up here. Okay. So I just put 4 little corners on like that. And then, let's see. Okay, so we're going to try installing this right up in here, nice and tight. On these centerpieces on these tracks, there's this little ridge. I'm actually cutting it the 2 3/4 inch wide, and then cutting this little V-track out of the middle of it, and then I have a nice solid piece that covers everything up. I'm leaving the taping because I can actually tape both these at the same time, so I'm not wasting so much tape. But yeah, and then so with those little feet, I can't push this up any higher, and that's what I want. This is going to only go up to there once I put the plywood on, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. Still got a nice ½ inch along the top here of airflow. Again, the feet are going to be contacting it, but that's okay. Even in the factory, they put like a spray foam So I'm doing the window coverings for all the side windows, and what I did is I used some cardboard as templates, and then for the edges, because they're not a square window, square is all the corners are rounded, but they're not square, they all have a slant to them. Laid them all out, did some test fits and stuff, and then I used a black semi-gloss trim clad paint with a roller, and rolled it right onto these window inserts. I only painted the side that's going to face outwards. I'm not too concerned about the inwards, but they're going to go into there. And I need one more up there. And this one I already installed. It's all wedged in there right now because I put a bead of silicone all the way around to hold it in place, and overnight it should tack up and glue it right in place basically. So these little wedges will come out, or actually I might just leave them in. I don't know yet. anyway, this 1/2-inch plywood, that stays in anyways. Same with this, and that 3/4 inch piece going up there. That's all to fur out the wall so that the insulation will fit in like this, where it'll butt up. So the other insulation is going to sit right on this edge and fit in there nice and tight. This will give me a nailing edge, or my Velcro edge for my wood paneling. I'm going to take you around and show you what it looks like from the outside. Make sure to clean the windows on the inside before you put it in. And then I washed the outside already. But if you're to be looking in, you're not going to be seeing much of anything. If I was to do it again, I think flat black paint might be better, or a window tint, a really dark window tint on the inside. I think flat black paint would probably be the better choice if you didn't want to retint the windows or black out the windows. Somebody else has suggested 3M vinyl on the inside of the windows or outside. It's meant for both, which I might end up doing later anyways. But yeah, for now, this is what it is, and this is what I'm going to use, and it looks like it'll work anyways. I'm really happy with it still, and I just got to pop in 2 more and we'll see how it looks. I temporarily installed the lighting last night, just to get effect, or a feeling for the effect of the cone of light that it sheds down inside the van. I found that I'm going to keep the lights it's 1 foot from the edge on both, over here and over here, and then 3 feet between them. So from here to the front of the van, this one, it's 3 feet between them. It works out to be perfect, where the light along the ceiling and down below kind of meshes together, and you don't end up with a black or a dark void in between them. And then it's maximizing the distance apart, so it spreads out the light more, but also not so close together that I'm wasting the light, ending up with a bright spot in the middle. Run it across here and then feed it down. I'm going to have my crown molding cap here at a 45, so there's going to be a big void here where I can run all my wiring for everything that I need access to. So it's going to tie these 2 lights together, come into here, come across here, and then come back out. The reason for that is because there's metal where these joints are in the ceiling, like this, here and here. That's metal ribs from the ceiling, and I don't want to drill a hole through them. And if I run it through a crown molding on the side, then the crown molding is just going to be a piece of the 5mm underlay at a 45-degree angle, with 1/2-inch banding behind it to hold it in place, probably with Velcro. But running all my wire in there makes it super easy to renovate it later, without drilling holes and getting it stuck in the roof supports. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to work. Well, I got my ceiling panel all cut out. I've done probably 6 test fits already, just to make sure, but I'm gonna show you it going in. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, but yeah. I cut 1 3/4 holes for the wires and all that. My lights are actually surface mount, they're not flush mount, but I still need a hole that I can access the wires through. So I made a hole that was just small enough where I could still put the screws in, but big enough that I could at least get 2 fingers in to pull wires through and stuff, and then also push it back up into a hole. I've made a temporary T-leg to support the panel in the middle. What I am gonna do is at the front, where I've got the existing headliner, it's gonna slide into there first, and then at the top back here I have this little lip. Took the wires out right now so I can just get it in and out a lot easier. But there's this little lip at the back, which this lip is lower than these metal ridges throughout the van, and it lines up perfect, so it sits flush up against this and then comes across and sits on there, and it's level, or it's flat. So I'm utilizing that little shelf. So again, van. I'm going to slide it into the headliner up there first, push it past, and then push it back about half an inch onto here, and then slide in the T-leg. So I'm going to set up the camera somewhere. Now I got my ceiling, tucked it in underneath here, underneath the existing headliner. I cut it long enough so that the headliner is going to get covered. It's got a slight curve in it, so I want to make sure it hit all the spots. And actually, I'm going to be reutilizing the plastic cap that goes over this, so I had to make sure that these little spots where it clips into weren't blocked. And I got my 4 light holes and 1 continuous sheet. With side to side it's 50 inches and our sheets are only 48 inches, and I wanted to use 1 continuous sheet, but I did plan on, or what I am going to do is, like I said, this is going to be crown molding, so from this edge to down to here where I've got a piece of wood to screw into, it's going to be at a 45 roughly. Or it's going to be 45, and it's going to leave this all open so that I can run my wires through at any time and just pop that off. I'm also going to do the similar thing above that window to keep it the same for one, but also I might run wires to the future cabinet that's going to be right here, which will have, I'm not sure yet, that's still in the design process and deciding what's going to go there, but my electrical is going to be on a wall that's right here, and so I might run wires to something like switches or USB ports or whatever. It's to be decided. It's a work in progress. Anyway, here we go. I have a ceiling. Today I got the ceiling panel cut and installed. I installed it, I put double-sided industrial strength Velcro on the metal ribs on the ceiling, and then pulled the tape out once I had the plywood in place. I didn't record that, but it was very interesting. I set up a string attached to the removable part of the tape and set it up across the van, and then once I had the plywood in place, I pulled on the string, pulled the backing off, and then pushed up on the plywood, and that allowed the sticky back to be exposed, and then I just pressed up against the plywood. It seems to have went in pretty good. Let's take a look. I ran all my wire down behind the foam before I put the plywood up, obviously. And then I ran it through all the holes for the lights, and then I just left the spool there because I don't know exactly how much I'll need to power the lights. So far I'm really happy with the ceiling. All the cutouts line up properly. The cutout for the track around the sliding door lined up perfectly around the brackets, and I got the one edge glued on for the crown molding that I'm going to attach later, or the 45-degree pocket, and so far I'm happy with the Velcro, but as I sit here, or as I've been going back and forth in the van, I keep hearing in the middle of the ceiling the Velcro kind of letting go a little bit, not letting go from the glue, but separating the Velcro hook from the two pieces apart. And the hook and loop, that's the word I was looking for. They're separating apart, And I think it's due to the fact that there's such a large camber in the ceiling of the van. It's not large, but it's steep enough where it's causing some resistance. But what I might end up having to do is finding some nice screws, not sure what, and putting them right up the middle of the ceiling. And I was really trying not to have any screws anywhere through the plywood on the ceiling or on the walls, but might have to. We'll see. Not very many will be needed. I think if I just did one row up the middle, so like 4 screws, it would pull it all tight into the Velcro and the rest of it would stick. But we'll see. Everything's a work in progress. I'll leave it there tonight and see what happens by tomorrow morning. If there's a big air pocket, or if maybe the ceiling just completely falls down. I don't know. We'll see tomorrow and see how it goes. But besides that, I'm really happy with it.